The subtitle of this program is Feeling Phonics. The phonics system here is based on feeling, not listening. Feeling the sounds is what counts. So get out of your head and remember that learning takes place in other parts of the body as well. The preparation menu on DVD 1 offers some natural warm-ups for relaxation and breathing. Professional speakers and performers are aware of how valuable these methods are. You will be too if you do even a very quick physical warm-up before starting. A little yawning, stretching, and shaking does more to put you in shape for speech than you would ever think it does. The vowels E, A, Y are your tonal anchors. They are the most strongly vibrating sounds in this system. They begin as vibration in the vocal cords, but become greatly enriched as you learn to focus the sound waves on the hard palate, and more particularly on the gum ridge behind your front teeth. When you can regularly produce E, A, and Y as strongly vibrating tonal vowels, it is the single biggest contribution you can make to improving every aspect of your speech, for being understood clearly, distinguishing between long and short vowels like date and det, for clearly producing the second stage of two-stage vowels, I, oi, oi, for providing added resonance to all vibrating vowels and consonants, and last but not least, for infusing good sound quality and control into all your speech, keeping it anchored in good tonality at a low register. A lower pitch range, which opens the higher pitch range for intonation and making your speech more expressive. Mastering E, A, and Y will take you a long way. DVD 2 covers the structural vowels, the vowels that have a shape or structure that you can see and feel. In this system, they are assigned a number corresponding to the size of their lip shape. Number 1 is the smallest. Ooh. Ooh. Number 5 is one of the largest. Aw. Aw. So a number 5-1 is ah, ooh, ow, ow. 2-1 is oh, oh. 3 is the midway position, aw, aw. 4 is aw, as in awed. 6 is ah, ah. 6Y is I. 3Y is oi, oi. Giving good lip shapes to these vowels not only provides good pronunciation, but helps create a voice box or megaphone behind the lips. This is how actors project their voices to the back row of a theater, without shouting, with no apparent effort. And good structural action will enable your voice to carry effortlessly in a public speaking environment, or when you want to be heard over the background noise on a busy street, or in a noisy restaurant. In an increasingly noisy world, being able to project your voice is a real advantage. All these major vowels, both tonal and structural, are color-coded in yellow. For example, at least he died in the world's greatest laboratory. At least he died in the world's greatest laboratory. At least he died in the world's greatest laboratory. The short grunt-like neutral vowels we call neutral 1, 2, 3, and 4, I, E, These are just in white. They're often interchangeable. The important thing is to keep them very short, treat them very different from the major vowels. On DVD 2, you'll learn that one way to do this is to focus vocal energy on the surrounding consonants. Play the consonants on either side of the neutral vowel and treat the vowel like it is the shortest distance between two consonants. For example, here's a sentence with neutral vowels I, Treat good, simple lesson, brother, as good, simple lesson, brother. Good, simple lesson, brother. Good, simple lesson, brother. Another technique, and this is specifically for foreign or regional accent reduction, is to color one neutral vowel with another, pronouncing took as tuck and tuck as took, for example, resists the tendency to slip into speaking a larger vowel. You'll see exercises like this. The bull stood at the edge of the wood. The bull stood at the edge of the wood. The bull stood at the edge of the wood. The bull stood at the edge of the wood. And that leaves the less troublesome neutral diphthongs. Neutral diphthongs 1, 2, 3, and 4. Or, ear, air, or, as in poor, peer, pair, poor. That covers the vowels. The consonants are color-coded in green or red. Green are the legato, sustainable, or continuant consonants, such as m, j, sh. Green for go, continue the sound. Red are the staccato, plosive consonants, such as b, p, g, k. Red for stop. Feel the drum beat. There isn't a lot to say about the consonants' general dynamics because each has its own individual characteristics, which you'll learn about on DVD 3. Generally, the green are legato or sustainable. The red are staccato or plosive. They are studied in voiced and unvoiced pairs like the Z and the S, and the D and the T. Consonants are wonderful things, and they're generally underplayed by speakers who don't realize their great musical values. In the consonant lessons, we practice the full musical values, followed by a repetition using the consonants to convey meaning. Following each video lesson, you can select more practice material, which uses the same structure of a list of operative words, followed by those words in sentences, all repeated in 2 or 3 stages of vocal energy. DVDs 4 and 5 put a lot of emphasis on connected speech. Now you'll see a blue underline where words are connected. Get used to pronouncing these underlined phrases like they were one word. Getting a feeling for connected speech is the key to gaining a natural, smooth-flowing style of speech. If English is your second language, connected speech is also critical to developing your listening and comprehension of spoken English. Because people do not speak in separate words, they speak in logical, connected groups of words. Those who grew up speaking English use connected speech all the time, but even they sometimes stumble over their own words because they're not aware of the little tricks for avoiding pitfalls. Trained actors, of course, are able to deliver lengthy, complex, even tongue-twisting passages flawlessly. This is not a gift. They have simply learned the rules for linking one word into another with intention. Often I've had very bright people tell me that their problem is they speak too fast, that no one understands them. Fast-thinking or fluent-thinking persons should never be forced to slow down. They must simply learn speaking skills that will enable them to keep up with their fluent thought processes. When they've learned to articulate their consonants and to link them together skillfully, their problem is solved. Intonation and rhythm patterns go a long way in carrying the meaning across in English. You can be speaking with perfect pronunciation, but put the wrong stress on a syllable, and your whole statement may go without being understood. Likewise, with how and where your pitch and inflections rise and fall, and the tempo rhythms of your speech. Americans are used to hearing a familiar pattern of music in their speech. When you've learned to use the American pitch patterns to call attention to the important words in your speech, you become immediately more understandable. You should exaggerate these patterns and pitch jumps when you practice, especially if English is a second language to you. You may think you are using enough pitch when you are really using hardly any. When first learning these pitch patterns, it's better to overdo them until you really have some mastery. Later on, it will be easier for you to recognize the subtleties of intonation and how the same words can carry either a very precise meaning or even multiple layers of meaning. Remember, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. I always recommend watching news programs for intonation practice, particularly international news programs like those on the networks, ABC, CBS, NBC, or cable CNN. My favorite among the network news programs is ABC's Peter Jennings. If you listen carefully, you'll notice that his use of intonation is very colorful and very, very effective. Even better for intonation practice is listening to a good public broadcasting or PBS news program. These are widely broadcast on PBS radio stations, so you could even listen in the car. On public television, you have the News Hour with Jim Lehrer. Jim and his panel moderators on the program, as well as the guests on the programs, use a great deal of intonation to get their ideas across. They are really getting into more complex issues, and to be sure they are being understood by a general audience, they really have to use a lot of intonation to make those ideas very clear. But all of these broadcasters are professional communicators, and as you become aware of the techniques they're using, you can use these techniques to give your own statements a clarity of through line while you're developing well-focused arguments. One final note, watching local news programs may not be as worthwhile. Those people are hired for their looks.